Welcome back to the Venom Workshop. So what we're going to be doing today is I'm going to show you how to take off your lights and change it with the number plate. So every Fender dirt bike comes with two options. You can ride with your headlight, or it comes with a number plate like this. So I'm going to show you how to install this number plate. That goes down inside there like that. But anyway, I'm going to show you how to install it. It's not difficult to install, but you do have to remove and put on a different bracket here. And you're going to have to take off a couple of plugs and put the ignition also into the bracket. So it does come with the hardware right here. And that's all the hardware for the bracket. So taking that off is pretty simple. You'll need an 8mm socket, and you will need a 10mm wrench. So we're going to go to the side of the headlight first. What we're going to do is we're going to remove this bracket off of this, off the headlight, and we're just going to pull the headlight off. We're also going to have to remove the plugs for the headlight. So there's a plug for the headlight to take apart. And there's also a plug for the number gauge to take apart. So we're going to take those two plugs apart. And then they just swing down. And then the ignition, what we're going to do is we're going to remove the ignition and put it in the new plate. So we're going to have to take all that off. So let's get started here. Because this bike does come with a headlight, which is amazing. Because most times you have to find a headlight for your bike, and then you have to wire it in. So wiring it into your wiring harness is just not a good time. I don't like messing with the wires on bikes if I don't have to, but I mean, there hasn't been much wiring I haven't done on a motorcycle. But for somebody at home that doesn't know much about a motorcycle or trying to hook up a headlight, it can burn a wiring harness, or you know what I mean? It's just not worth the hassle. So this one does come with a headlight, which is really nice, especially if you're doing like trail ride and things like that. You really want it. But if you're running track, a lot of tracks don't like headlights on the track, and I get that. You can easily blind another dude on the track pretty quickly. So we're going to do the same on this side. Okay, so now the headlight will actually move out now, because you can just pop it off the fender like that. And to unplug your headlight, just turn. I'm gonna actually move my camera around so you can see the plugs. So our plugs are right in there, right here. This is our headlight. It's easy to know a headlight because the headlight always has a blue wire on it. That's for all bikes, they just have blue wires. So we got the headlight off. Now we have to follow our ignition wire down. So we're gonna have to unroll all of this off to get to the ignition wire. And it's not a huge deal, it just rolls off like this, so you don't have to get too excited about it. It's a really nice system for holding all the wires together. Okay. So our ignition is these two wires right here. Okay, and this is the one for our gauge. Now, that one's not a big deal. On the bottom of the timer, or the hours for the motor, you can just pop these two off at this side. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Because the new one doesn't, the new bracket doesn't have the hours gauge on it. So if we come over here, these are the two wires I'm talking about. So you just get a set of, those pliers and pull them off like that. And then you can just go, when you wire back up, you just flip them around and they'll wire back to the side. So now all you have to do to get the ignition out is push in that tab on this side like that, and push in the tab on the other side, and use a screwdriver. That one's really slick. Okay. Take your ignition out of here. Just like that. Okay, so now this bracket can be removed right off of here, and there's only one bolt that holds it on now, and that's right here. And that's just an 8mm bolt. Just like that. Now our new bracket, when it mounts, it's going to mount the exact same. It's just going to go like this. Like that. So, I'll show you what I'm doing. So if you look, my mounting bracket, it mounts right here where my finger is. Oh, I can't see that. Right there. So I'm going to put I just have to put my bolt in, and then there's a bolt on each side. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. Before we go ahead and put that little bolt on, we'll go ahead and mount, or get our bolts that mount onto this, so we can just literally mount it right onto it. And all this hardware comes with it, so it's nothing you'll have to figure out. I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. I've almost got it complete mounted now. Okay, so your mount actually mounts, I'll turn the camera so you can see it better, just like that. So there's a washer on the top, washer on the bottom. Again, washer on top, washer on the bottom. There's also 2 grommets that have to go in here. I'll show you how to put them in on the bottom. So they just slip in like that. Oops. They just slip into the holes. I'm gonna go ahead and do this by myself, just because it's easier to do with 2 hands. There's one. I got my other grommet in. Now I'm just gonna tie, or I'm gonna tighten up these two bolts. A lot easier if I had a ratchet. Oh, there it is. Okay. So like I said, I'm just gonna tighten in these 2 bolts on both sides. They don't have to be overly tight. It is a locking bolt on there, or not, I'm sorry. There we go. Now before we mount this, you want to go ahead and put your ignition in first. So our ignition, I'm gonna. So this is our part. Our ignition has a little tab on it right here. That tab lines up with right there. So you just put your key or your wires through, just like that. You put this little rubber cap through first because it won't fit with the ignition. And then you just let your ignition go in, you give it a little shake. There we go. And then just pop it through till the 2 clips snap. Then you shift your little rubber piece up on the bottom of your ignition. That's just to stop water and dust from getting in there. Just like that. Now we can get our 8-0, because once we put this on, we're gonna go ahead and tighten it on. And all you're gonna do is line up these 2 grommets right here with the 2 tabs on the front fender, right there and there. And then if you do that right, this hole will line up with this hole right here, and you should be good to go. So I'm gonna make sure my ignition wires go down through the forks there where I need it. And once the rubber grommets are on there, you're gonna have to kind of shimmy it down on it. There we go. And just like that. Okay. Tighten down our number 8 here. Don't go overly tight so that you strip anything. Now, we're going to move that wire back because we're going to plug back in our ignition. The only thing we're not going to plug in is our light because we don't have our light anymore. And this wire here, we would just double up in the roll. So inside that roll, we would just double it up. That's just the timing, or for the hours on the engine. So we go ahead and connect back our 2 ignition wires like that, and like that. I'm going to be actually going back to the rope with back to the light on this bike. So I'm not going to bother doing the wires, but like I said, all you would do is take this like this, triple it like that, and then you go ahead and put your wire cover on. And then once your wire cover's on, it'll hold everything nice and tight. Like I said, I am going to be switching this back to the headlight. So I'm not going to worry too much about that. Now, you don't have to run your lines through here. They're already zip tied, so you don't have to. So you can leave that just like this. It doesn't have to be like it, but that's what it looks like with the number plate on it instead of the headlight. And that's how you switch your headlight back to your number plate.